Well, good afternoon. Welcome to RTO World Session, 5 Ways Millennials Can Help Your Business. I am Sharon Tomaszewski with Rent King, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's speakers, Terah, Vail, and Kale. Before we begin, I just wanted to ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones, please. And if you haven't had an opportunity to download the meeting app, please do so. There will be an evaluation about this session today that you can go on the app and fill out. I have to click this button. Make it work. Good thing I'm not speaking.
I think it's the left one. Yeah, the right one. It's the right one.
There we go. There we go. Sorry. Our speakers today are Terah, Vail, and Kale. Terah is Director of Operations for Fan Sales and Leasing, an Aaron's franchise based in Fayetteville, Arkansas. After receiving a master's in theology and history at the University of Edinburgh, Terah returned home and began working for Fan, a company her father started in 1996. Since then, she has gained experience in accounting, sales, credit management, and small business startup. Terah is also involved in Vistage, a peer advisory group of business leaders in Northwest Arkansas. She is a board member of a single parent scholarship fund of Northwest Arkansas, a nonprofit that provides scholarships for single parents who are working to be financially independent. She is currently serving as president of Arkansas Rental Dealers Association. Terah is passionate about traveling and spends most of her free time with friends and family. And at lunch today, she was awarded the Newcomer of the Year. So that was a great honor, and let's just recognize her again for that. Kale started Happy's Home Centers with his uncle and father in 2010. Today, he and his brother Jeff oversee the day-to-day operation of 14 Happy Home Centers locations in Tampa and Jacksonville. Chris is an alumni of the University of Florida. He currently serves as vice president of Trib Group and on the board of the Florida Rental Dealers Association. It says here he enjoys spending Sundays with his wife Katie, his daughter Caroline, and his son James. I can speak for Chris. He likes to spend every day with his family, and he is a doting father and husband, and loves to spend time with his family. So I'm going to have both of them come up and take over.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon is our president of the Florida Rental Dealers Association. She's been doing that for too long. She does a great job, and those of you that have vendors and members that have made it down to Tampa know that she throws a really good party. So if anybody's free the second week of September, we'd love to have you down there. I've got a couple quotes about young people that I want to run past you guys, and I'm going to do that with my cell phone because that's what I do. What's that? What? No. I'm getting to them. It could have been. So young people are just now leaving the parents' nest. Many friends are just getting married or having a baby for the first time. At 35, they aren't switching occupations because they have finally landed a meaningful career, perhaps after a decade of hopscotching jobs in search of an identity. They're doing the kinds of things at 35 that our society used to think people did at the age of 25. Does anybody think that sounds like a millennial? Yes? Yeah? That's from the Wall Street Journal in 1984. Okay? Let's try another one. They are self-centered because they have not yet been humbled by real life. They think they know everything, that they are always quite sure about it. Aristotle wrote that in the 4th century BC. So people have been saying these things about young people for a millennia, okay? This is not a new thing, okay? Now, yes, we have the smartphones and things like that, but these opinions about young people are, yes, true about millennials, and just as true as they were about you guys. I'm talking about you boomers and you Gen Xers, okay? And they will be true, and we're gonna think the same things about our kids. This is just kind of how it goes. That said, Terah and I are hoping to accomplish a couple things over the next hour. We want to define the millennial generation for you, talk about millennials as rent-to-own customers, and most importantly, talk about how you guys can engage your millennial teams, right? Because this part of the workforce is getting bigger every day, and millennials aren't going away, okay? So we're going to need to learn how to deal with them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Terah.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Sharon, for the introduction. So going off of some of those quotes, these are some of the words we think of when you hear millennials or talk about millennials or read about it or converse about it. Entitled, self-centered, impatient, lazy. Does this sound about right? Maybe. We're going to actually talk about who millennials are. It is going to be a little bit prescriptive. What we're not going to talk about is why they may act the way they do. We're not going to talk about all the social and cultural and economic and political forces that have played on this generation, but we are going to just try to break that stereotype down and get away with it, get away from it. So we're going with the Pew Research Center. A lot of different organizations define millennials and do studies on different generations, but the Pew Research Center defines millennials as the people born between 1981 and 1996. Others will ballpark it around their early 80s to mid to late 90s. So that means in 2018, millennials are aged 22 to 37. And I know that when you look at that list of words or you hear the statements that Chris mentioned earlier, you don't necessarily think of a 37-year-old, right? A couple of other things. There's over 71 million in the U.S. now. I was in the owner-dealers meeting earlier, and Casey Pristeau put out the number of 84 to 85 million. It's the most racially and ethnically diverse generation in American history, and already the largest workforce in America at 35%. So I looked at Fan's employee base, and 67% of Fan's employees are millennials. 2/3 of our employees were born between 81 and 96, and Happy Homes, y'all are 3/4, almost 3/4 at Happy's. So go look at that. Go look at your payroll list and see how many would be defined as millennials, and then see how their work ethic, their problem-solving abilities, their commitment to the company does not jive with all these buzzwords we hear about millennials. In 2016, millennials formed 27% of the voting eligible population. However, they came out in fewer numbers than any other generation during that round of elections. And just remember that, because we'll bring that up a little bit later. The other thing to remember is that millennials came of age during the advent of the internet, but it was adapted, it was not assumed. So in 2007, when the first iPhone was introduced, the youngest millennial was already 10 years old. And this is actually a shared experience that Gen Xers and baby boomers have with millennials, is that millennials actually remember life before cell phones and smartphones and before the internet. So I remember a home phone on the wall, right, close to the kitchen, with the longest extension cord possible, right? So you could walk halfway across the house, and then someone else coming through had to duck underneath the cord. It was just kind of a reaction you learned. I remember when home phones went cordless, and what a treat to walk around your house without a cord being around. And apparently it was so hard to keep track of those giants home phones that they put a finding beeper on the home base, right? Where you had to push it, and you couldn't find, you know, the phones were like this big, and it was always in the couch or something. So dial-up. I can pick out the sound of sitting, waiting patiently for the computer to boot up, waiting for the dial-up tone. I mean, you just sit there for like 5 minutes. And so millennials get that. They understand that. It's adapted. It's not assumed. So 21 years and younger, that's Generation Z or the next generation, whatever they're going to call that group, it's assumed, right? So they assume the existence of technology, the reliability of technology, the availability of technology, but millennials not so. So that's actually something y'all have in common. They work and they buy homes. The National Association of Realtors released a report this year, and 36% of the homes sold in the last 2 years went to millennials. The next highest group was baby boomers at 32%, and then Gen Xers at 27%. It is true they may have waited a little bit longer. 65% of those millennial buyers were first-time home buyers. But if you think that millennials don't need furniture or don't need any kind of home furnishings, they're buying homes faster than anyone else in the country. A couple of trends, talking about millennials, they do still prefer brick and mortar to online experiences. They do care about the experience, but they still want to walk in, touch the couch, feel the couch, look at the wheels, look at the tires. They want to have an experience. It does need to be fairly seamless. If you're not taking online payments, you may want to start looking into that. Once you've closed them and delivered the product, they can make an online payment, as all of you do. It doesn't really matter what age you are. Isn't that convenient, just to make an online payment? And they want to try it before they buy it. All of these trends are actually really good for rent to own, I think. We are brick and mortar, and we do offer a really good shopping experience. I think that's an area of improvement and an area where a lot of owners and dealers are looking to continue to improve. They want to try it before they buy it. Perfect. We're happy to let them, right?
All right, pop quiz. I'm going to call on you guys. Justin from American, how are you? Good. How many of your customers, active customers right now, do you think are 35 years old or under? Yeah. 55% or 35 or younger. Okay. Okay. Kelly? Probably about the same. Okay. You're about 40% millennial active customers, and that's a poll taken from 5 independent dealers with about 130 stores worth of data. Okay, so we pulled a couple people, pulled a couple numbers together, and we're at 38.6. So Justin, you ruined it. I shouldn't have called on you. But 38.6 of your customers are already millennials. And at these shows, I think that number surprised me. I think I would have guessed, 28, 30% max. That's where I would have been at. And what we did was we actually asked a couple people. Some of those are in the room, so thanks for sharing your numbers if you were one of those folks. But we found out that it was really high because, at the bar, it sounds like we can't rent to millennials. Sounds like they don't want to rent to own. Millennials don't rent. Well, guys, 40% of your business right now are millennial customers today, okay? And that was a pretty diverse group of stores. Our Tampa stores are all urban. They're all inner city. And I got, we got some Rent One numbers, Magic numbers all skewed in there. So it's all blended with different types of environments. So those aren't just inner city numbers. Those are all over the place. Why does that matter for you? What we're trying to figure out here is how we can motivate millennials and how can we get your staff engaged. You guys already have the millennial customers. Now you've got these millennial employees, okay? And that's really where the rub is, right? Because they don't like to come to work on time and they're always on their phone and they want the Saturdays off and they're just kind of a pain in the butt, okay? So here's some ways that we've come up with at our company to try to motivate millennials. So the first thing that we know about millennials is that they like to problem solve, right?
Right. So let them collaborate and help you solve the problems. How many of you were in the owner-dealers session earlier? I got to sit in on it, and it was completely applicable to what we're talking about, right? We talked about it. We need to engage our employees. Millennials and younger people can not just help you identify problems, they will help you fix the problems. We are at FAN, we're looking at some sales initiatives, and we're bringing our GMs, mostly millennials, into Little Rock next month to help us solve the problem, and they could not be more excited to come help.
So Terah is bringing people into their corporate office to talk about problem solving. One of the things that we've done at Happy is really super similar, and the best thing about it is it's free. We let some young GMs sit in on our operations meetings. So one of our youngest GMs gets to sit in on all of our big operations meetings. That's the operations meeting at our corporate office in Tampa. And they get to have input, and they get to say, hey, this is what I see that's not going well. This is what I think we could do. Do we always do what the youngest guy in the room says? No, but we've gotten some great feedback from them too. And it helps keep us honest, because now we've got somebody there at the table that has a different perspective and a different point of view. And it costs us nothing to bring him to those meetings and involve him in those meetings, but it really does go a long way, not only for his engagement, but for all the other young folks in our company, because they see that we're opening the doors up and letting people into these big picture decision meetings.
So frequent feedback, it goes both ways, right? We want millennials to help us solve problems. I guarantee you, younger people want your opinion about how to do their job better, how to improve. You're the seasoned veterans. You're the owners, the operators. You've been doing it for a while. Share the knowledge and give them feedback. At FAN, we do a formal semi-annual performance review. We are also engaging with them on a few different platforms, but we try to give them feedback as often as possible.
One of the things that we've had some success with is a simple little program that we do once a month with every employee. We call it Start, Stop, Continue. This is nothing new. Some of you guys have probably seen this before. Those of you that haven't, it's really super easy, and our young leaders love it because it's really, really simple. So the way that this works is once a month, everybody gets one start, they get one stop, and they get one continue, okay? So the start could be something as simple as, hey, listen, I want you to start trying to add on the elite rewards of the club program to anybody that doesn't currently have the club program, right? You're a really good salesperson, you're taking a lot of payments, but I'd like you to sell more clubs, so we're gonna work on that. So that's their one specific start. Stop playing with your phone, right? Right before this meeting started, I asked Mark to stop emailing during sessions, right? And he hasn't done it once so far, so thanks, Mark. So one specific stop that's actionable, right? So start, stop, and then continue is hopefully something that employee is doing really super well that they can be encouraged to keep going with, right? So continue helping out the other stores and acknowledging them and giving them a shout out when they give you a hand, right? So every employee gets one start, one stop, one continue. The start and the continue is really good to start to ease them into the training program and develop new habits that are going to help them get better. And the stop could be something that seems kind of small, that might be behavioral or something like showing up a minute late to work that the young leaders don't really want to talk about, but it makes them put it out there and it makes them talk about, hey, you got to stop showing up late to work. Hey, please put your phone away while you're on the job, things like that. So that's a tool that's been really useful for us.
But before we move on, do you all know that phrase that says, what if I train my people and they leave? And then the other side of that, well, what if we don't train our people and they stay? So feedback is a very good way to get going on the training and engage people. Recognize participation. We are always doing a fan. We're always doing little contests, pizza parties if you hit a number on a day, or gift cards or cash. Cash always will make it work. We also have monthly awards. We have quarterly awards. We're an Aaron's franchise, so if you're the winner of the quarterly award, you're the top dog, and we get you a t-shirt, and our employees really enjoy it.
So we've got a lot of contests as well. We like to create competition. We know that competition drives engagement. So one of the big things that we do at Happy's, some of you guys have seen this at the TRID meeting, but we're going to bring it up again because it's that important. This is called Slack. This is social media for work, okay? This is driving engagement at our stores right now. People are posting on Slack. The great thing about Slack is it makes energy viral, okay? So we all know that sales are contagious, right? So in a store, when somebody gets a sale, now the next guy gets a sale, then the next guy gets a sale, and they kind of roll downhill sometimes. I've got that going on between my entire company, okay? So if somebody gets a sale at my Tampa store, the guys in St. Pete are going to see that, and now they're going to want to beat them because they're in a contest with them, and they're going to put out 5 more rents today, okay? And it's working like that all over my company every day. It's happening right now. They're posting on there. So these are some examples of some Slack posts, and Slack is simply just an app. You give everybody on your team a handle or a username with their name, right? And then you can comment on posts, you can hit like buttons, you can do little emojis, you can post little graphics on there. Anything that you can think of, you can post on Slack. We use it more than we use email in our company. This has really largely replaced email at Happy's because it's in their pocket. And because when you post on there, it gives them a notification, and if you tag them, it makes the little bell ring, and it gives them that little dopamine hit, right, that the Facebook guys talk about. So our employees are like kind of addicted to it. Okay, so I've gotten my employees addicted to this Slack app, and it's just fantastic. I'm addicted to it too. So just to give you guys some ideas of how these work, Darion runs our Gulfport store. That's a new employee of his, Shay. He's saying she can sell, and he's tagging Shay, my brother Jeff, myself. Bill, who's our operations guy, he's here in the room. And then there's people adding eyeballs, like look at that, thumbs up, sunglasses. They're the generals, so that's their soldier hat. There's Angel Cruz, he's up in Jacksonville. Angel's saying Happy's family, right? So he just loaded them up with balloons and ice cream and sodas. We get them sugared up when they come to Happy's. You got smiley faces, Puerto Rican flag, because he's Puerto Rican. That's how it goes. And then over here, we've got 15 out in Berryland. Right? So she's saying, hey, I got 15 out. This is what I'm talking about with sales going viral. So she puts that on Slack, and now everybody in the company can see that at 5:46 p.m. when there's still a good hour or two left in the day to sell, okay? Here's a guy out here getting it done in TC. So that's Town and Country, suburb down in Tampa. And this guy's got a stack of our door hangers over his shoulder, and he's sweating. It's probably 92 degrees outside. And he is out there excited to show his team that he's putting door hangers out in a residential community in Tampa, Florida, in 92-degree heat in August. Okay? That's hardcore, right? Here's another one. The president. 3 hours and 30 minutes. I visited 10 B2Bs, means I visited 10 businesses and 414 flyers. Now I'm the Crown Southside Marketing King. So these guys are like giving themselves nicknames. They're giving themselves monikers. This is what's happening. And all these posts, by the way, are within the last 7 days. So none of this stuff's old. This is all like fresh stuff because I can't scroll back that far. There's too many posts. This guy runs our South Tampa store, Bill Williams Jr. Last minute sales in the SOG. I just closed a 4-rent sale on a fantastic customer, and he's tagging his teammates. See, so Matt just closed something over the phone. And then, here's off a flyer that my teammate Dino did. So it's a way for them to give recognition to their teammates. And then what's happening is, as the owners of the company, we're able to chime in and say, great job on that sale, Matt. Great job on that add-on, Dino, right? Keep up the marketing work, guys. So now they're getting those positive strokes, not only from their teammates, but people that they've never met before. This makes our company picnic a lot of fun because all these guys know each other. They've never met before. But they've been commenting and liking and sharing stuff for maybe 6 months, And now they're meeting face to face, and it's like, oh, hey, man, what's up? Yeah, good to see you. Nice to meet you in person finally. But they're best friends automatically, right? Great tool. It's a free tool. I couldn't recommend it more. And if you guys have any questions about that, ask myself, ask my brother Jeff, ask anybody in a Happy shirt. We'd be more than happy to share what we know about that with you. That's free, by the way. It's all free. I put the word participation in red here because I know that some of our older folks see that and cringe, right? Because millennials get recognized for participation. Ew, gross, right? Older folks, did your children have any of these growing up? Younger folks, do you still have any of these? They're not on your mantle, I hope, right? I hope you got rid of them. They're in your attic, okay? This is a soccer participation trophy. I think I've got one just like it. It's on my desk at work. No, I'm just kidding. But this is a participation trophy. We grew up with them. We like them. They're shiny. They're fun. The marble base gives it a little weight when you pick it up, right? And hey, I used to make my parents sign me up for soccer so I could add another one to my collection, okay? I didn't want to play soccer, okay? I didn't like soccer. I just like getting the trophy. It's how it goes. People like recognition. This is our 2017 Top Gun. His name's Ryan. He runs our Pinellas Park store. And look at that nice big trophy he got. Looks an awful lot like the participation trophy, right? Okay, so trophies, tokenization of achievement, it works. If you guys aren't handing out trophies and plaques monthly, I'd really encourage it. It costs us about $40 to do our plaques every month. People love them. We do a salesperson of the month, credit team of the month, store of the month. Everybody gets a plaque. Okay, so our walls in our back rooms are loaded up with hardware. $40 a month for the plaque, the 6-foot tall trophy, which they said it's the tallest trophy they ever made. That made me really happy. $106. And that's a once a year thing. That was a once a year, okay? And you spread that out over 2 or 3 stores and you're okay, all right?
So allow them to leverage technology. People do business with people they know, like, understand, can relate to. If 2/3 or 3/4 of your employee base are millennials, and you're already selling to at least 40% millennials, let them talk to each other in a very easy way, in a very familiar way that they know how to talk to each other.
So here's a story. I like this story because I think this sums up millennials pretty well. I gave myself a little more slack, so I don't have to lean on that thing anymore. Okay, so this is a Facebook Messenger post, okay? Those of you that use Facebook, you might recognize this. One of my general managers went on there unprompted and just started replying to one of the guys that had messaged us. And the guy had said, hey, I was interested in adding a few more items that slipped my mind. If you could take a look at that for me. Our manager says, sure, what are you thinking of? I need a small coffee table, high top table with 2 chairs and 2 bar stools to match. He says, okay, I'll look around the store and I'll get you some pictures and prices soon. So they go back and forth, and I'll just show you, he's showing them different pictures of coffee tables and things like that. This goes on for 2 days, 100+ messages, and it creates 1 new customer, and it was free, okay? The point of the story is that, hey, he's doing the same thing that we've always done, right? Instead of the customer coming into the door, though, they engaged us through Facebook. It's just a different way, right? If somebody called you on the phone, you would certainly train your staff to answer that call and make the deal, right? That's what we train them to do. That's a rent-own fundamental. Well, New School says, hey, if they message you on Facebook or they email you or text you or however else they can get a hold of you, you really need to make sure that you're able to close that sale, because that Facebook message is just as valuable as a phone call, and it's just as valuable as somebody walking in your front door, okay? It still makes money, okay? So it's really important that, you guys realize that millennials have the ability to go through and do this and price something out. This is normal. It's natural to them. Let them do it. Encourage them to do it. Don't tell them that they're wasting time on Facebook when they're talking to potential customers, because they're potential customers, right? Okay? All that said, Chris Sr. likes to say, you don't know what you don't know. He tells me that all the time. You don't know, Chris, what you don't know. And he's right. But that applies to pretty much every young person ever, right? Aristotle said it. The Wall Street Journal said it in 84. Young folks don't know what they don't know. And guess what? Us millennials, we really don't know what we don't know. We're nice people. We're well-intentioned, but we have no idea what we're talking about sometimes, right? So as well as that young manager did, this is how he delivers it. TV placed on the ground. The customer messages him back and says, I was just going to ask what would be my chances of getting a TV stand and end table to complete the place, right? So not really rent-own fundamentals there. He didn't know what he didn't know. We were able to add on the TV stand and the end tables, but I just thought that that was pretty funny because here's a situation where millennial thinks he's doing something really well, using technology to close the sale, and we drop a TV on the ground. So that gets a big face palm, okay?
All right, so help them sprint to short-term goals. You know, leveraging something like Slack. At FAN, we use an app called GroupMe. Same thing, it's free, and our employees are on it and engage each other, and that's where we throw out our contests. Either on a Saturday when we need a rally, or the next week we're down and we need to pump it up. Help them sprint to short-term goals. It provides results.
Yeah, so millennials are impatient, young people are impatient, right?
Right.
And I'm going to stop saying millennials now, and I'm going to start using the term young people because that's really what's going on here, right? They're not special, they're just young, okay? Millennials are impatient, they want it now, they want that promotion, they want to know what's in it for me, okay? At Happy's, I think our guys do a really good job. I've got Bill Williams in the room here that handles a lot of our hiring and interviewing. These guys do just the best job of from the very first day saying, hey, when you come to work at Happy's, you're going to put out a lot of flyers. And when you come to work at Happy's, you're going to deliver a sofa up to the 3rd floor. And it's going to be hot, and you're going to sweat, and it's not going to be that fun. But if you stick it out, it's a really great opportunity. And then they become dream sellers, right? So now they're selling the dream. Hey, but we're growing. Hey, but there's an opportunity for you to advance. Hey, you're going to have to do all this bad work, but there's a really great chance that this is going to be a special experience for you, right? So we're selling that dream. Millennials are dreamers, as are all other young people throughout history, right? And they want you to dream with them, okay? And if you guys don't dream with them, they're going to go work somewhere else where the leaders are dreamers, right? And the leaders want more than what they have right now. And the leaders aren't comfortable with 450 customers at the store, right? That are challenging them to go get 500, 600, 700, 800, 1,000, okay? That's what they want out of us. So we need to provide that for them. Here's a couple really easy things that we did at one of our stores. This guy here, Bill Williams Jr., we had a store that was losing about 10 grand a month in revenues. And we had put a couple different managers, I'm sorry, not in revenues, but obviously we were just losing 10 grand. We put this guy in there, Bill Jr. He had some rent-to-own experience, some buy here, pay here car experience. No management experience, but came in, wanted to do the right thing. We painted the picture for him. Hey, if you come in, work hard, something good might happen for you, right? What we did with Bill is we set a lot of really short-term incremental goals that he could hit on a weekly basis. And every time he hit that goal, we would just pop another goal out there, okay? I'm going to show you what I mean by the goals. But in 12 months, Bill grew his store 26% in revenues, okay? So he went from losing money to making money in 1 year, right? So I would kill to have all of my stores go up 20%, 6%, not in potential, not in BOR, deposited cash, right? Banked cash. And this is what I'm talking about. This is not all feel-good fluff, guys. That's ROI right there, right? That's a good thing. So here's how we did it. We put a really big thermometer up, right? He got to color in every time that he hit another goal. The thermometer cost $15. We would buy them nice little perks for their store. When they hit one of their goals, he got these nice floor mats for his store. The drivers asked for nice butt cushions so that their butt wouldn't hurt so bad when they rode in the truck, right? Those were $22. We bought them these emojis to go on Slack, right? So I paid a guy on Fiverr $5 a head, $20 for them to look cool on Slack, right? Because they like Slack, they want to look cool. We had lots of small little things like that, free lunches, video game gift cards. The guys wanted ammunition to the shooting range, so I just gave them cash for that one. I don't want to buy ammo. But just anything that they wanted, and it all started out with, hey guys, let's just think about what would happen if we did jack this store up and how fun that would be and all the cool things we could do along the way. What do you want to do when we jack this thing up, right? What is it that you think would be fun? And that's what they told us. They said, well, we'd like, maybe some prizes. And the small things worked. The recognition worked. And setting short-term goals that they could sprint to, and we could high-five them and set another short-term goal, worked. And it worked really, really well. And that guy grew that store. He's our top growing GM over the past 12 months. And he's a millennial that just responded to that. And he's a very hard worker, busted his butt. And on top of that, we came up with a good plan and we executed on it.
Yeah, so build a place they belong. And what a lot of these takeaways, what we're talking about is culture, right? Building a good culture for the employees. And culture and performance go hand in hand. You have good culture, you'll probably have good performance. You don't have good culture, you probably won't have good performance. And good performance is going to lead to profitability. So build a place they belong. We do a picnic every year. This last year we threw in a softball game, and it was actually a lot of fun because all the teams on GroupMe started talking smack, and it was East versus West. And it was actually kind of funny because two employees from two of the stores, they didn't know they were on the same team, and they were talking smack to each other. And we had to be like, guys, y'all are both on the east side. And they go, oh, okay. And they were like, who's on the west? We need to razz them. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but create a company that people want to be a part of, and they will respond with good performance.
And one of the really simple ways that we've done this at Happy's, and again, I'm trying to keep it to cheap and free because those are the things that I take home from these shows, because I don't have a bunch of money to remodel all my stores, right? I need free stuff. I like free stuff. I like cheap stuff. It works for me. This works for us. You guys might recognize these. These are team mascots. So we're in Florida, so we've got the Gators, we got the Knowles, somebody like the Patriots. Each store gets to pick their own mascot, okay? And that becomes their moniker, right? So, you know, the Town and Country Titans, the St. Pete Gators, the Columbus Crusaders, the Arlington Pirates, the Dade City Seminoles, the Largo Lions, right? We're big on alliteration and stuff like that. But the Manatees, right? So every team gets to pick their goal, and then hey, I'm a Lion. That's a source of pride. It's not, I don't just work at store 4, I'm a Lion, you know? And Lions, hey, Lions work hard, you know? Now the Patriots down the street, they don't work that hard. Those guys are kind of lazy. And the Patriots think the same thing about the Lions, which is what makes it kind of fun. Okay, so everybody thinks that if you're a Lion or a Patriot or a Pirate, you are the hardest worker, right? You are the best, you are the smartest, you are the best collector, you're the best salesperson. So this stuff is really good. Now, these are all sports teams and like ferocious things that can eat you, but our team names aren't always that way. One of them goes by The View, so they're a women's talk show. Another one's a Strawberry. The Strawberries win Store of the Month a lot. Okay, the Strawberries can collect their cash, guys. They do a great job. So the team names don't really need to be something really mean or ferocious. It's just anything that the store can cling to and belong to, right? So it doesn't really have to be your local sports team or the Missouri Tigers, and we got to get you a Gator shirt, man. Got to do it. But it doesn't have to be anything like that. It can be something a little bit different, something a little bit fun, and we don't pick them. The store gets to pick them. So we'll censor it if it's vulgar or anything like that. But the store gets to pick it. It's their baby. If the manager wants to change it, he gets to change it. That's how that works. It's not something we own. It's something they own, right? So when we talk about our teams, we don't even say Store 4 or Largo. We say the Lions did this. And everybody knows the Lions are Largo and they know it's Store 4. Everybody knows. There's no question about that. It's just what it is. So it builds a place that they belong. Our newest store is called the Manatees. We just opened up the Manatees, and the Manatees had a really big sales day the other day on their grand opening. So they've invented a manatee gang sign that they use to have little flippers, right? So hey, like I said, I don't come up with this stuff, they do. But all that's free. So again, just easy ways that, hey, maybe you guys can take this back, try it out. I know bigger companies, maybe you need to section it off, do it by division. We're small enough to where we can do this under one umbrella. You know, it works. I mean, we've been doing this since we had 2 stores. So, I mean, any size company, I think, can really use this and benefit from it.
Just going off that real quick, one thing FAN does is we have community events in every store that the store decides on. So they pick a community event or something to do. So we have blood drives in the parking lots. We do pet adoptions. We do fundraisers. We get involved in Relay for Life for some of the community events. And these are the communities that our employees live in, and obviously our customers live in. And it really works, and we love actually just being involved more in the community that way. So let them know how they can make an impact. And when we're talking about rent to own, there's a number of ways we can do it. APRO has a young professionals group on Facebook. Get your young people and your companies involved in the APRO Young Professionals group. If you want to know how, contact me. I'm happy to figure out how to get you connected to them, or any of the APRO staff can help you. Actually, they have an event tonight at 9 o'clock.
Is it Thaxton?
Yeah.
Thaxton Bar.
Yeah. And
Thaxton. And that's for the young and young at heart. Okay?
Right.
So, Dan, you can come. All right? So
I think they leave at 8:30.
I think 8:30 in the lobby. So tell whoever might want to come to that. You guys are welcome. It is a young professionals thing, but industry newcomers, you know, come on. We'll be at 8:30 in the lobby, and come with us over to the event. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep. The APRO Legislative Conference. I'm not telling you to take all the young people up to DC, but if you remember that stat I mentioned earlier, millennials turned out with the lowest numbers in the last election. They're thinking, they're figuring out what they believe, who they want to vote for, why they want to vote for them. Make sure they are voting for RTO industry, good laws and good legislation. So even if you go, even if they don't, let them know what's going on. Update them. When you come back, have a little conference call. Tell them what happened. Tell them who the players are. Tell them who you connected with. Get them thinking. They are the future of this industry. So get them plugged in early to what's going on politically. And state industry associations, lots of networking opportunities in your state for at least all the states that have state associations. I know Chris is involved heavily in the Florida group. I'm involved in the Arkansas group. They can connect closely with people in their own state. So it's a great way to get them plugged in.
So as we wrap this up, we really want you guys to take away from this the big thing. For those of you that aren't young, you were young once. Somebody trusted you. Somebody gave you a shot. We would really like for you guys just to keep that in mind. Give some people some responsibility before they're ready for it. I remember the folks that did that for me. I'm sure that you guys remember the folks that did that for you. Give them a reputation to live up to, and I think you guys will really be surprised what some folks do. Kelly? Yeah. There's just a correlation between the two. So you don't get points for posting on Slack. You don't get points for Google reviews. You get points for rents and collections and fees. So we are a fundamental company. We do believe in the rent-to-own fundamentals. We are accused of tracking too many metrics oftentimes. We are numbers people. We compete. We score everything. That's what we do. And we use these things to try to motivate and get people excited about reaching those goals. The only correlation that I can tell you is that the people that are doing this stuff the most are the people that have the big bottom lines. Okay, so it does go hand in hand. They're the ones that send us the reports on time. They're not over on their overtime, and they make the most money. So yeah, I mean, something's there. Yeah.
I mean, culture and performance, right? Those go hand in hand, and we're the same. We don't. We use very standard KPIs when we're giving awards to our people.
So I think that we're getting kicked out of here. Aaron?
Just curious, of your managers, how many of them are?
Oh, I don't. Bill, how many millennials do we have out of our? Who's not a millennial? Maybe one or two. So 2 out of 14. So we've got 12 out of 14 young managers. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your attention and your time. Hope you guys have a great show. We'll be around. Feel free to come get us. Talk to you guys later.